Hello, my name is Corey Neal, and today I'm going to talk to you about the different generational communication in the workplace. The first thing that I like to ask you guys is a question. Have any of you guys ever worked with a different generation in the workplace? Well, if so, I'm sure that you've run into some type of problems for the simple fact that dealing with different generations always causes about some type of problem because people are at different age groups, different stages in life, and majority of the time the different generations have different core values. With that, I want to talk to you about the what, the why, and the how of generational communication. So, what is generational communication? It's communication that takes place between people of different generations in the workplace. And in order for a company to see success, that generation communication has to be great between all the generations, not just the individual generation. The why. Why does this problem occur? For the simple fact that people are different ages, people have different education, backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, as well as core values. Finally, how? How does this affect companies? It affects companies for the simple fact that since companies want to see profits, and we all know for a company to make great profits, they have to have great communication, that is how this problem plays into the company. Now that we know a little bit about what generational communication is, I want to take a second to talk about each generation. The first generation in the workplace is the traditionalists. The traditionalists are the oldest generation in the workplace. Typically, the traditionalists are hardworking people and they're formal and they prefer a communication style that's formal or in the memo style. After that are the baby boomers. The baby boomers are the generation that tend to go against the grain a little bit. They like their communication style to be in person, and the majority of this generation is soon to retire. Generation X comes after the baby boomers. They are up to date with technology, they're tech savvy, some of them have iPads and tablets, and they prefer to communicate directly and immediately in the workplace. Also in the workplace, this generation prefers a structure. Finally, is Generation Y. I'm a part of Generation Y. And my generation, we're very tech savvy. We're up to date on all new technological advances, and we prefer to communicate over emails, text messages, or forms that are not such as strict and as formal as the other generations would like to. And we also prefer to have a balance of lifestyle. So with all these different type of things, with the baby boomers this way, the traditionals this way, Generation X, Generation Y, some problems come up. The first problem is the biggest problem, which is poor communication. This can be poor communication in emails, meetings, in person, nonverbal communication, and all this only leads to no success for the company. And with no success, that's no profits. So it's imperative to improve communication. Second, time and money. When there's no communication in a workplace, people do things the wrong way because they have an assumption that somebody wants it done a certain way since people didn't communicate with each other. That's going to take time and money, two things that the company does not want to waste. Another thing that happens with the poor communication in the workplace is there's no passing down the knowledge. Older people don't tell younger people, well, we tried this 2 years ago and it didn't work that way. Since there's no communication between the generation, now you have the younger generation trying to do it a way that the older generation has already tried and have failed at. Now the company's wasting more money again. And the last thing that arises is clicks. Clicks in the workplace are not what you want for the simple fact that you'll have the young with the young, the old with the old, the men with the men, the women with the women. And you're not going to see the success that you want. You're going to want your whole company together as one team, united to make the company goals happen. So, with all these problems, is there a solution? Yes, there is a solution. And that's the great thing about this all. The solution requires everybody to play a role, everybody from the traditionalists to Generation Y. Because if not everybody plays a role, then one generation may think it's unfair, and then that could cause even more problems. But if we can pull a little bit from each generation, you're going to see that company success is going to skyrocket. So what do I propose? I propose a one communicational and technological baseline in the company. This technological and communication baseline will take place in meeting rooms when people are scheduling appointments, when people want to also maybe have days off or anything like that. This baseline will talk about all that type of stuff. It also will talk about what medium to use, like how to talk to someone. And that's very important in the workplace. It's also going to talk about when to talk to someone. Maybe You don't talk to them when they're on the phone, or don't talk to a person on a break. And it all lines up on what and how a person should communicate in the workplace. It's also going to talk about when to be formal. When do I need to write a proposal, or when can I just text somebody to ask them a question? These are all things that gets covered in the baseline. And another thing that it's going to cover, which is very important, is how the young talk to the old and how the old talk to the young. When the young talk to the old that expects that the people will talk to them in a way that's very professional because they may have old-fashioned standards. And the younger generation needs to do that. And on the other hand, the young want the old to talk to them like they're very educated because the young generations are educated and they do have a lot to bring to the company. So either way, this baseline is going to have ways built in where the old feel respected and the young feel that their new ideas and opinions are respected as well. So this communication baseline, this one baseline is going to fix all those problems. Now, will this be expensive? More than likely. It will cost time, money, and training. If you have a more adaptive workforce, it's not going to cost you as much. Whereas if you have a less adaptive workforce, it will get a little expensive, excuse me. But that's all going to be great because at the end of the day, you're going to have a company that not only sees great profits, but also a great communication system that's only going to allow for the company to grow beyond measures in the future. With that, I'd like to open it up for questions, and you can ask questions, anything that you feel free about the baseline, about the different generations, or anything like that I can help you understand the proposal better. If not, if there are no questions, I would like to say thank you very much for listening to my proposal, and I hope that you liked it. Thank you very much.